Hey, good evening. It's Jeff here. It's Sunday, August 9th, here in Annapolis, Maryland. I wanted to put this video out as a personal thank you for each one of you for subscribing to my new website and my Facebook site as well. We launched the new website about 3 weeks ago, and about 100 of you signed up in pretty short order to follow the images and my future newsletters and some of the backstories behind some of the images that go with the aerial photos that populate both the website and the Facebook site. So I wanted to use this very short video first to thank you and to let you see who I am and what motivates me to put the content out there, hopefully for your enjoyment. And I also wanted you to be introduced to my other little friend. It's the actual machine that takes the images that allows me to post on Facebook and the website. And that little machine is this Mavic 2 Pro. This is the actual drone, the aircraft. I actually have two of them. When I go on paid jobs for realtors and development folks, etc., I bring two drones. One is the primary and the other is the backup. They're both Mavic 2 Pros, what you see here. This is a pretty sophisticated machine. It's not a toy. It's really a life support system for a really cool camera, this Hasselblad camera on the front end of the drone itself, and I'll come back to that in a second. But when the drone's flying, it actually has sensors that create a 360-degree bubble around it that prevent it from bumping into things. So it's a safety factor, and I'll tell you, I really enjoy that safety factor just for peace of mind as I'm flying. But you know, flying these drones isn't as easy as just walking out the front door and throwing them up in the air and putting them in the national airspace to take pictures. Here in Annapolis, in fact, there are so many airports, and you know, the Naval Academy has a hospital with a heliport. That's an airport. We have a Anne Arundel Medical Center here, big hospital with a heliport. Lee Airport's here. You know, if you're a recreational pilot, it's just about impossible to fly this type of aircraft in this region. Knowing that, a couple of years ago I sat for a Part 107. It's an FAA unmanned aerial vehicle pilot's license, and every 2 years you need to get that updated. But with the, let me correct myself, unmanned aerial system is what that is called. It's a robot connected to a human. UAV is just a robot that flies completely autonomously. That's not quite what this beast is. Anyway, with the 107, I'm allowed to fly in just about any airspace with proper conditions being met. And every time I put the drone up, I grab my iPhone and I file a flight plan. And if I'm in controlled airspace that's governed by a control tower, typically a large airport, the FAA will get right back to me with a thumbs up or a thumbs down about my ability to fly, even restricting the altitude and the time and the location. But here in Annapolis, it's more as a courtesy to inform the FAA that the drone will be in the national airspace, and that I tell the FAA what time I'll launch and land, the airspace I'll be in, and my altitude, which is typically 400 feet or below above the ground. So again, it's not as easy as just walking out on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee and throwing the drone up in the air and having fun. It's not a toy. The FAA treats this thing just like an aircraft. In fact, most manned aircraft, all manned aircraft, have tail numbers. Well, so does this drone. It's got a tail number right here because just like a manned aircraft, it's registered with the FAA. So with the license, what I decided to do a couple of years ago was get the drone up in the air and take a lot of pictures and videos. And the new website that you all have joined is kind of the end product of that idea 2 years ago. So what I'd like to do is just put the drone in front of you just for a couple of seconds. I hope this doesn't bore you to death, but if you're a drone geek like me, I used to fly manned aircraft, and with me, I discovered that I like looking at the window more than looking at the instruments. And I said, whoa, that's not going to work too well from a flight safety point of view, and so my love of drones and aerial photography really have come together with this little beast right here. So this aircraft has two vision sensors up front. They look like eyeballs. The biggest sensor, of course, is this Hasselblad. Again, I'll come back to that in a second. There's actually an infrared sensor here on the top of the drone. There's one on the bottom. Two more. A big light right here that lights up the ground before the drone lands, so that the drone can actually assess the terrain to see if it's safe to land there. There's vision sensors on the side here, one on the side here as well, two on the back. So with that in place, there's this 360-degree bubble of avoidance of objects, and that's a very good thing in my view. The neat thing, though, is this whole drone is really a life support system for a Hasselblad camera. Hasselblad may ring a bell. Actually, they've been around for decades. They got their footing during the war. In 1941, they were very popular around the world. Fast forward to 1969, and Neil Armstrong had a Hasselblad camera strapped to his chest, as did all the following Apollo missions, and that was their camera of choice on the moon. So this camera is really pretty neat. You know, it's super miniaturized. It's got a 1-inch sensor, about 20 megapixels for information density. That's what I call it. But the neat thing is, when the drone's flying and the drone's rotating, the camera is mounted on a 3-axle gimbal. So whatever I'm telling the drone to look at, whatever I'm telling the camera to look at, the camera just stays right on the target while the drone is flying itself through the national airspace. The drone can be flown semi-autonomously. In other words, I can pre-program it to fly a certain flight. I can make it fly to certain locations, altitude, latitude, longitude, like a waypoint in the sky. And at certain points I tell it to hover, and then I focus on the imagery, the camera end of it, and that's where some of these images have come from. While the drone's doing its job hovering, I'm looking around within the drone electronically through the Hasselblad lens and creating images that I hope you all enjoy. So that would constitute, I think that is my newsletter number 1, volume 1, number 1, and I'll put these videos out fairly frequently, along with my images and videos and the stories behind those videos and images as we develop our relationship together. Pardon me, I'm out here near my grills in the condo, and it's a little bit warm, and the mosquitoes just discovered me. So before I become dinner for the insects, I'm going to sign off for this evening. Have a great night. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, I'm going to put this on YouTube. Like it and subscribe if you'd like. I'll figure out, all the big YouTube guys say just down there, you know, on my Facebook, on my YouTube site, just click that button. I'll figure out how to do that, and we'll move forward and grow together. Take care. Have a good night.